All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Water Break. I'm your host, Terrell Thorogood, alongside Ryan Cavan.
What accent was that?
I don't know. That was like kind of like an auctioneer a little bit. All
right, let's get back to the show.
Now back to the show. We got another good one for you. We excited about it? You excited about it?
I am.
I'm not excited about that hat.
My new Lake Show gear, Champions 2020.
Stop.
All for the Mamba.
I saw they put an asterisk on the side of the hat there.
That was really funny. That was really funny. I've only heard that joke from you like maybe 17 times in the past month, but it's still funny every time you say it.
It's hilarious. Yeah, there's an extra star there on the side of the hat. Dalen, what's good, bro?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Good, bro. You're good.
It's gonna be a good one.
Oh man, we got another good one.
We do. As always, we always have a good one.
Yeah,
it's never a bad one.
Yeah, that's all we're trying to do. Just bring you guys good content, some good episodes. Send us some ideas in the comments.
Yeah.
What you guys want us to talk about? DM us on Instagram. Hit up our socials. Send us an email, waterbreakpod@gmail.com. Let us know if you guys got some topics. We have had some fans DM us some of their topics and ideas already, and we're excited for some new content that we're gonna push out in some new episodes that you guys have suggested to us. So we're excited about that, and
giving you an opportunity to have a little bit of a voice.
Yeah,
share a little bit there. So we're grateful that some of our fans would give some topics that they're interested in, have some discussions, and then also some opportunities to maybe bring on some new guests that kind of are involved in some sports outside of our realm a little bit, which will be cool as well, to allow everyone to have a voice. That's really what the podcast is about. Us just talking sports, having a good time, and then giving people a voice that maybe otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity to have a voice in the sports world.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of the voices, we're going to our off-camera voice here. Dalen, you ready to start us off here on the show today?
Yes, let's roll, boys. So we are going to talk about the biggest one-hit wonders. This in every sport.
Yeah.
I mean, in certain sports, obviously, that we have, what we've talked about. But biggest one-hit wonders. Let's go with Ryan. Why don't you start us off?
All right, let me start it off. The first one that came to mind, probably the biggest one that I could think of, was Jeremy Lin. Linsanity.
Yeah.
If you remember that. And he had those few games in February 2012. Jeremy Lin was promoted to the starting lineup and led a 7-game winning streak for the New York Knicks. His stellar play during that season helped the Knicks make the 2012 NBA playoffs. And then it kind of turned him into an international superstar, really. He appeared on the cover of Sports Illustrated, Time Magazine, and was named the Time 100. Time 100 is one of the most influential people in the world. And then in July 2012, Lin won the ESPY Award for Breakthrough Athlete of the Year. I mean, this was the craze of 2012. Like, literally, I remember even there were people I knew like having Linsanity shirts. Like, this was so big. And then he signs that right after following that year, he signs that big contract with Houston, and people are like, man, this guy is gonna break out and be this star. And I mean, he was still a decent NBA player, but he just didn't live up to that hype. I mean, I think after that, the only notable thing he really did after that was waving off Kobe for a 3 at the end of the game, one of the seasons when the Lakers won like 17 games. Like, it's the only notable thing he's ever done. And then also that practice when Kobe was calling everyone soft like Charmin, and he pointed right at Jeremy Lin. So those are the only two things that he's really done since then. I mean, again, he's been a good player, and he won a championship with the Raptors. I don't think he played in the finals. Like, I'm not trying to be mean.
I saw a YouTube video of Jeremy Lin's highlights from the championship series, and it literally was a 3-second video of him dribbling the ball.
in garbage time.
Okay, I was gonna say I wasn't sure if he played, but if he did.
He did.
It must have been less than like 5 minutes.
Yeah. No. He played garbage, like the garbage.
I think it's
3
like
seconds
yeah,
left in
literally.
the game, just dribbling the ball out. Like that's literally his
That's so
highlight.
disrespectful.
But I mean, he had a good few games there in 2012. But other than that, he's just been kind of a mediocre player in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, Linsanity, there's the whole Linsanity documentary out, like, which was a really good story, if, for those of you maybe not NBA fans, yeah, I mean, him, Harvard graduate, ended up sleeping on the couch of one of his teammates, like, just
Landry, right?
It was
on the Knicks. He slept on his couch, not knowing if he was going to make the team.
Yeah, what's his name?
What's his first name?
I can't even think.
Carl.
No, not Carl Landry. Not Carl Landry. Landry Fields.
Landry
Fields. There we go. Carl Landry. No, yeah, I don't think he was in the league anymore. He might have still been in the league, but he might have still been in the league.
I couldn't think of anybody else to talk about.
I was like, I know you're talking about Landry Fields. Landry
something.
Fields.
I just have an opportunity to have a good time here. So
That was a crazy story.
But yeah, he was sleeping on Landry Fields'
It was,
couch,
yeah.
like and then he just went off. And Melo was injured, right?
Yeah. He was.
So Melo was injured, so that's what really gave him.
It wasn't just Melo. I mean, there was multiple injuries to the team that at that point.
Was Shumpert still injured? Or was Shumpert playing with?
I don't remember exactly at that moment, but I knew there were multiple injuries, and it was kind of just like,
well,
all right, we're gonna bring this dude in for at that time it was the D League, now the G League.
Yeah.
And it was like, let's bring this dude in, and
yeah,
just let him play a little bit, and we, might as well. And at that point, there weren't too many. I don't know if there were, if anything, there weren't that many Asian American basketball players at that time.
Well,
So
that played that position too.
Yeah, especially that position. Yeah, because at that point, I think in 2012, Yao was still in the league.
Maybe, yeah, because you have.
I think he went to the Hall of Fame in 2018, and 4 years after. So I think he still was in the league, but at that point, yeah, playing a guard position. There were no Asian Americans.
You didn't have a lot of Asian Americans playing the guard position. Yeah, because like you said, Yao Ming and other guys like Yi Zhanliang or something like that. But that was a crazy story. Like you said, international superstar, because he got China to support him, because I think he's from Taiwan, I think, but which is like pretty much China. It's the Republic of China, and so. But anyways, he got China support, even like when he went to Houston. Like he was for I think up until a week or two before the selections, like he was going to be an all-star starter.
Yeah.
Based off of the votes. Like, so Linsanity was huge, and we still like his name is we still recognize the name, and he's still somewhat popular, if you will.
And he got his chip.
And he got
his chip dollar.
He got
the championship,
and he got the money. Yeah. So
he's on a big contract with Houston.
Yeah, Houston gave him a lot of money, but still, I mean, I think the fact that like people still kind of were holding out hope that he would still be a good point guard, with the Lakers and the Hornets, and I think Atlanta too. I think like
the Nets, the Hornets.
The Nets, yeah. Like teams were still giving him a chance in the NBA.
Raptors,
like that was huge.
It's
like,
just funny when
who would have thought a month stretch of good basketball would get you a full career? Yeah.
It's so funny thinking about Jeremy Lin, because when you look at him play, like, when you watch NBA athletes, like, I watch NBA athletes, and obviously I'm not saying I'm as athletic as Jeremy Lin. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But typically when you watch an NBA athlete, you look at them and say, like, wow, I can't do that. And then I watch Jeremy Lin shoot. I'm like, we have the same jump shot.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it was, but like the way he attacks the basket and the way he shoots. Again, he's no one playing pickup. I'm not trying to compare and saying they're as good. I'm saying the eye test. He looks as if, that's something that I can do. Like, I can do that on the court. He's not flashy. There's no like signs of like, wow, like I can't believe he had that sweet cross. It was just like those 12 games or whatever it was. It was just like he was just hustling and just
And I think it was the swagger about him too.
Yeah.
What got people on board. But yeah, Linsanity.
Yeah, his hype was real for sure. You guys see, he's actually trying to make an NBA comeback.
Yes, because he was in China for 2 years, I think.
Yeah,
playing for the
Beijing Ducks.
The Ducks, yeah, he was playing for the Ducks for 2
the
years.
last year or so. And I saw that he posted like this big Instagram post that he knows that he's supposed to be in the NBA and he's gonna
Yeah, he's been playing over here
try
with
to
Jordan
come back.
Lawley and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and doing some runs with him. So
Be
We'll see what
interesting to
happens.
see. All right, T,
Yeah.
you're up. Who you got?
So this one near and dear to my heart. You know, my biggest one of my biggest one hit wonders is Tim Tebow. Now I'm repping. You guys see here, I'm repping the Broncos. Diehard Broncos fan, near and dear to my heart. So we drafted Tim Tebow. You know, we took him. Oh man, I'm forgetting the 2022, I think. Or did you want to fact check that for me? I think we took him 22nd in the draft, and I was like, all right, you know, whatever. Like he's probably, I would say arguably the best college 25th. Okay, so we took him 25th. He's the best college football player of all time, probably. I mean, he's at least a top 5 college football player of all
Top
time.
5.
Yeah.
At least
Because
top
I'd say
5.
Reggie Bush.
I knew
is-
you.
Yeah, okay. He's gonna
Reggie
go
Bush
Reggie
is the
Gonna go
the
Reggie
best.
Bush.
Anyways, all right,
But
continue.
but I would say he's at least one of the best college football players of all time. So
Yes.
when, you know, Denver drafted Tim Tebow, I mean, everybody, you look at all the mock drafts, everyone's saying, oh, this guy should play halfback, he should play H back, he should play tight end. Like he's not a quarterback. He's not going to play quarterback in the NFL. It's Denver drafts him. I'm like, okay, sweet, we got this quarterback. Like, we're excited about him. And, you know, our quarterback at the time, but before, you know, Tim Tebow stepped in, we had Kyle Orton, who the year before started off the season 6-0. We had, you know, Josh McDaniels was the head coach, and we were rolling, and then literally went 2-8 the rest of the season. And, you know, they were like just, you know, threw in Tim Tebow in the last couple games just to see how he did against the Houston Texans when he first played. Like, all right, this guy looks good. And then we started off the next season, went back to Kyle Orton. He struggled, and then the bye week came, and we put in Tim Tebow to start against the Miami Dolphins.
And the Lord was on his side.
And that was the beginning of Tebow time. You guys remember, like, Tebow time? Like, we talk about Linsanity. You got Tebow time. Obviously, the kneeling, you know, the prayer. He made kneeling cool, I guess. You know, there was, you know, obviously, for me as a Bronco fan, he was very frustrating to watch for 3/4 of the game. Like, he would miss the easiest passes. He couldn't throw the ball. I mean, obviously his game was running the ball. We literally went. We started Tim Tebow at the bye week, and then from the end of the rest of the season had the number 1 rushing attack for the rest of the season. You know, you guys like Nosha Marino, Willis McGahee in the backfield. Like, you know, we had a bomb rushing attack, and then Tim Tebow time. I mean, it was everywhere. Everybody was jumping on board. I think the Broncos ended up getting rated like the most popular team in the NFL. Like going to the next season, like there was that on. There was I forget the name of the DJ guy or whatever, DJ something, whatever. But he made that whole mixtape. You remember that whole like he used Skip Bayless and like made that whole mixtape. Like he's a gamer, he's a baller, he's a I got Tebow, whatever. It was like the whole team. All he does is win. All he does is win. Yeah, the whole thing like he literally took the NBA by storm. They had skits of him on SNL, like the NFL, sorry, by storm. And then
his other sport is the MLB.
The MLB is his other sport. That's right. But that playoff game against the Steelers, that for me, I probably watched that game probably 3 times a year and rewatch it. I mean, again, like I said, I bleed blue and orange. I go back and watch old games.
That was an overtime game, right?
That was the overtime game.
Yeah. So
I watch games. I watch the Broncos games as much as I can. I haven't missed a game since I was like 14. But that game, we were coming into, obviously the Steelers were like, you know, they were going to beat us. The Steelers were Super Bowl contenders. Like they were going to beat the Broncos going into that game. And that game was played at home in Mile High, and Tim Tebow went off that game. Like he threw for 316 yards, threw for a couple touchdowns. Like he was balling, and then obviously the game-winning touchdown. So this was the first year of the new overtime playoff rules. Mm-hmm. And so it was, you know, whatever, if a team scores a field goal, the other team gets a shot to come back and score, right? Then the current rules that are in today, like, but this was only for the playoffs they were doing this. And so I remember exactly what it was. I was at home. All my family were all watching the game, and I do not like watching the game with people. But I had my lucky blanket on. I still have it to this day. I've had it since I was 12 years old. I literally watch almost every Broncos game with that blanket on.
Every time I've ever been anywhere, you always have that blanket at your house. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
I've had it since
you were 12.
Since I was 12.
Yeah.
It's still in good. No, bro, it's in good shape.
Yeah, we've been roommates,
bro. That blanket, bro, it's in good shape.
Has he ever used another blanket?
No, that's the only blanket he's ever used.
I'm telling you guys,
taking that thing camping with me.
Everywhere, hotels everywhere. I've had it since I was 12. So, but I had that blanket on, and I'm watching the game, and my older brother, he was asking me, he's like, so how do the playoff rules work? How does overtime work or whatever? And I was literally in the middle of explaining to him. I was like, oh, if we score a touchdown, and Tim Tebow gets the ball. He throws it to Demaryius Thomas. He breaks free, gives a stiff arm and takes off. The Broncos score a touchdown. We win. Game over. Like, Tebow time.
It was a great game.
Tebow time was insane. But again, it all came to an end the next season. The Broncos signed Peyton Manning and ended up trading Tim Tebow to the Jets, and where he had to play backup to Mark Sanchez, barely got really any playing time. They did a couple Wildcat packages, and then he went to the Patriots, then played with the Eagles for a little bit, and then just kind of fell out of the NFL. But he's a guy, he probably should have gotten a second crack at being a starter in the NFL. I think the Jets did him dirty because Rex Ryan told him like he's gonna play and like he's gonna get PT or whatever. He had a shot to start. That's really the only reason why he was like, I'm down with this trade. Not to say like he had a ton of leverage, but he was okay with the trade. I think
John Elway wanted to respect him though. Because he won the
we had the playoff game. Won a division, won a playoff. So like he definitely wanted to do right by Tim Tebow, but he.
Definitely a one-hit wonder.
Definitely a big one-hit wonder.
For sure. All right. Next one here I'm going with. Are we going to do 3 each?
Yeah.
I'm going to roll with 3 each. All right. Next one I'm rolling here. Dallas Braden. Not a lot of people may remember Dallas Braden, so let me refresh your memory. Pitcher for the Oakland Athletics, the Oakland A's on Sunday, May 9th, 2010. Dallas Braden pitched a perfect game, and I remember seeing this on SportsCenter. I didn't watch. I'm not gonna try to lie on here and say I watched an A's game. Okay, no one watches an A's game unless you are an absolute diehard fan of the A's. But pitched a perfect. We don't need to go any further from there.
You said die, and I was like, oh yeah, Oakland.
He pitched a perfect game against the Tampa Bay Rays. Retired all 27 batters. I mean, just unbelievable. The number I forget, Dalen, if you want to check how many times a perfect game has been pitched in Major League history. I don't want to say a number because I feel like I'm going to be off, but I know it's definitely, it's not a lot. It hasn't happened a lot. And really after that day, after that time, I mean, he had a decent end to the season, but he was just kind of really, again, just really mediocre. He had some serious shoulder injuries that didn't allow him to really continue on in his career. Didn't really have a successful career. I think he is probably, in baseball's eyes at least, the number one guy I can think of that says that guy was just, I mean, he had that extreme high, and then after that just really plateaued.
Right, in 150 years of Major League Baseball history and over 218,000 games played, there have only been 23 official perfect games.
23. I mean, so he did something that only 20, and he's not a Hall of Fame pitcher. He not an all-star, not a franchise pitcher. He was a good pitcher that year and had a great, an all-time great game, but didn't really have that success after everything. And he definitely, in the eyes of baseball fans, if you're a real baseball fan and you can remember this moment, you remember how crazy it was that a guy like this did this, and to not live up to that continued hype. He definitely is a huge one and done player in professional sports.
Yeah, I just remember that game itself was just there was so much I think there was like a moment there with him and his dad. Like there was just a lot of cool things with that game, and it was just all over ESPN and SportsCenter and all different sports news outlets. Like it was such a big deal. But then, the big fall to obscurity. So, but yeah, he's another one-hit wonder.
I think I just looked it up. That was he pitched that perfect game on Mother's Day, and I believe his mom was there. And I think the moment after the game was
his mom. That's what it was.
His mom. And that's
kind
of what viral was. He pitched a perfect game. You know, it was a gift to his mom, kind of a thing. So that was kind of cool. Put the cherry on top for that.
Yeah,
that is cool, but definitely a one-hit wonder.
Yeah. So I got another one-hit wonder for you, Rye.
I'm here.
You ready for this guy? Another guy who started his career with the Denver Broncos. I'm going to go with the running back Peyton Hillis. So this guy obviously, started with the Broncos.
Is your third one also going to be a Bronco?
He's not going to be a Bronco.
Got it.
But Peyton Hillis, he's another guy who took the league by storm. Started with the Broncos, had some injuries, a hamstring injury. But he was a good running back for the Broncos, and then went to the Cleveland Browns. This is a part of the trade that sent. I think this was Brady Quinn ended up coming over to the Broncos. He was a quarterback with the Browns, and there's a big old trade with Denver and Cleveland, and so Peyton Hillis ended up going over to the Browns, and balled out in the 2010 season. So this guy who, coming off of a concussion, coming off of really just getting really tossed away, a toss-in piece really for Denver, he comes in the next season with the Cleveland Browns and rushes for 1,177 rushing yards. He's got 11 touchdowns on 270 carries, a Pro Bowl. And the biggest thing, he was on the cover of Madden. Like he was obviously the next big running back. And again, he's rushing along the same.
Was he the start of the Madden curse?
Was he the start of the Madden curse? Oh no! You had guys before that. You had Steve McNair Michael Vick, all these other guys who were.
But it is real.
Terrell Davis. It's definitely real. Madden curse is real.
Lamar Jackson, I think, just statistically, I guess. But anyways, Peyton Hillis was on the cover of Madden, and he's, again, a lot of the other top running backs at the time. You got Chris Johnson with the Titans, Adrian Peterson, Arian Foster, Maurice Jones-Drew. Those are some of the other guys who were balling out in the NFL, running backs who were balling out in the NFL at the time, especially that year. And so this was like, a contract, coming up on a contract year for him too the next season. He obviously wanted his money. Like, I had a Pro Bowl season, Madden cover, 11 touchdowns, 1,000-yard rusher. He went off. The next season with the Cleveland Browns, they were hesitant to give him the big contract. Obviously, there was talks of him, like his maturity, like his durability as well, like him just being able to stay healthy, because obviously he had those 2 years in Denver where he was injured. He didn't even start every game for the Browns that year too. So they were like, we're not sure we're going to give you this contract. They gave him like this prove it year, and he fell off. He ended up rushing for 3 touchdowns the next year, only rushed for 587 yards the next season. And then they were like, nah, bro, you're out. And so he ended up going to the Chiefs, and then ended up going to the Giants, and then just career fizzled out, and only played 7 years in the league. So he definitely was a huge one-hit wonder. Yeah.
Again, the Madden cover was the thing for me. If you played Madden 2011.
No, I think he fell victim to the Cleveland curse.
The Cleveland curse.
Come on, he
had the Madden curse and the Cleveland curse.
I think it was more so the Cleveland curse. I don't know, but it's funny because I saw a meme and it said, "From cover boy to game over," and it's like, yikes.
Ooh, yeah,
that one cuts deep for him. But I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Like
this conversation is almost depressing. Like I feel bad.
You feel bad for these
ragging on all
guys.
these guys.
Like
they
I'm
were huge,
surprised.
they were
I'm
great.
surprised Madden even put him on the cover just because the aesthetic of brown and orange on like the front of the game.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, come on.
I think it was there was it that I don't know if that was the first year they started doing like fan votes and stuff like that, or maybe it was a couple years later. But yeah, or maybe they were like, we gotta let the fans decide now if we're like. Because the aesthetic, and Peyton Hillis was like he definitely had a bomb year, but he wasn't even like the rushing leader. Like I think Arian Foster was led the league in rushes that year. You still had guys like Adrian Peterson, who I think ended up getting on the Madden cover in 2012. I think. So
it's almost like Madden should have been smarter with making sure that these guys are more proven. I mean, even with Lamar was the MVP, like great season, but I mean, to base giving them that off of 1 year, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like a little bit more needs to go
we
into
almost
that.
have to do like an episode and dig deep in what goes into Madden, in them choosing too. Like
for sure.
Obviously, Lamar Jackson's probably the big, the hot name in the league.
Yeah.
At the time.
I do get it. Like I understand it, but
Peyton Hill is one that's like he wasn't even MVP. Like
Yeah.
he had a really good season, but like, come on, like he
should
shouldn't be
have
on
been
the
smarter
cover.
with that for
Jump,
sure. But
jump the
definitely,
gun on that one.
Yeah,
definitely a one hit wonder.
All right.
No question. All right, my last one here. I'm gonna go with Buster Douglas, underdog going into the 1990 fight against Tyson. Who was undefeated and considered to be the best boxer in the world, obviously. And Tyson obviously had been consistently dominating and defying all odds, all expectations. He knocked out Tyson in the 10th round to claim the WBC and the WA titles, and he reigned as the world heavyweight champion for only 8 months. And after after fighting Tyson, he fought Evander Holyfield in the next title defense and lost it. And after that, he never regained his title again. He had it for 8 months and lost it. He was a proven a good fighter, but no one in their right mind was picking Douglas to win this fight. I mean, I wasn't alive in 1990, but just everything you've read and everything you hear about this story, it's such an amazing kind of underdog story too, a real David and Goliath story. I mean, Tyson is and I think that's this is a side note, but that's why people love boxing so much.
Yeah,
one punch can change
the whole fight.
And that's why there's that's why people love sports in general, but just in boxing, like literally one punch can change everything. And no one expected Tyson to lose this fight. And so when that happened, obviously he's got this title, loses it to Evander Holyfield. That's another legend you lost it to. Like, that's not the end of the world to lose that to him. But then his career just fizzled out so quickly after that. And he went from this literally the highest peak of beating, some would say the best not the best Muhammad Ali, but one of the top 3 boxers ever, top 5 boxers ever, and to beat him and to be on this high and then to take that fall just so quickly and to just fizzle really out. He definitely is a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, he's another one I kind of forgot about. Who was a big name, who's still somewhat of a big name and a recognizable name. Because of that. I mean,
fight
with Tyson.
And again, some of these guys, I mean, it's not like they're terrible. Like we mentioned, Jeremy Lin, still started. Like, it's not like his boxing career was over, after his next fight with Evander Holyfield, but he had this one peak moment and he never reached that pinnacle again.
Yeah. So I totally agree with you on that one. He's another good one. All right. Here's my last one. Going to the NBA. He's another guy that, as you just mentioned, like who reached this pinnacle, reached this height, and then just could never get back to. And I really feel bad for him. That's Isaiah Thomas, and not the Pistons Isaiah Thomas. This is the Celtics Isaiah Thomas.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Which I think he was named after. After losing, his dad lost a bet. I think I had to name him that. But Isaiah Thomas, so drafted. He was the last pick in the draft by the Kings out of Washington. And he was playing pretty well, played pretty decent with the Kings, and then was playing with the Phoenix Suns, and then ends up getting traded to the Boston Celtics. And he had a good little stretch there with the Celtics. The year before when he got there, he averaged 22 a game, and then he had his last season with the Boston Celtics. He had the MVP caliber season. Mm-hmm. He didn't win MVP. He finished fifth in the MVP voting, but he was averaging 28.9 points a game, pretty much 29 points a game. He was averaging 6 assists a game, about 1 steal a game. Like he was balling. This dude was a bucket. I mean, Dalen can obviously attest to it. He was watching it. That was big. IT time. Fourth quarter was IT time. He was like, Dalen would never shut up about Isaiah Thomas. He always talk about him, but he was just. I liked watching him. Obviously, me being not tall either. Isaiah, I mean, he's still taller than me, but
and a lefty.
Yeah, and a lefty. So he was definitely
extremely entertaining.
Yeah, so fun to watch. Like just watching him on the court, he could get a bucket anywhere. Anywhere he went. Like, and again, he's another guy who took the league by storm. And I don't know. I think it's just something about like the guards, like fans, I think really can get behind like guards. I think it's just whether it's their size, they're like they're not too tall. Like they're not like the 7 foot or the 6'11" guy where it's like, oh, I like
James
him.
Harden says, I wish I could just dribble to the basket
and just dunk
it every time.
Exactly. So it's just
there's some truth to that.
Yeah. But then, he had that MVP caliber season, and he was due for that contract extension. If you remember, like he was supposed to get that huge contract. He said he's being interviewed. They were like, what do you think about, your contract extension? He was like, it's my time, and they better back up the Brinks truck. I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make a lot of money. And he was set to get a huge contract with the Celtics, and then the Celtics did him a little dirty. They Celtics, which is understandable. They were in a. I even feel bad because the Celtics had just signed Gordon Hayward that summer, and Isaiah Thomas called Gordon Hayward and was like, "Yo, we're about to make a run. Like we got Gordon Hayward. Like this is our time. We're about to win a championship. We got these young draft picks. Like we're all right. The Celtics are here. Like we're gonna win a championship. We're gonna make a run at a championship." And even then, like they could have made a run. I think. They made somewhat of a deep run, I think, that year. I think maybe they lost in the second round.
No, they lost in the conference finals.
It was the conference finals?
Yeah.
Conference finals?
Because Kyrie ended up being out and Hayward ended up being out, and they lost to LeBron in Game 7.
Game 7.
That's right.
Tatum dunked on LeBron in
That's
Game
right.
7.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. So they lost in the conference finals, so had a legit chance to make the finals, and they were like, he was super hyped about it. And then they traded him for Kyrie Irving, send him over to Cleveland. And then obviously, there's everything has come out now. Like he had the hip injury, and that's really where Boston was like not willing to go that route. He obviously had the surgery. He was out for Cleveland, didn't come back, I think, until January or something like that, or February. Came
after
back
the All-Star break, yeah.
Yeah, he came back with the Cavs, and then he's just been on this mission now.
And he got traded that year.
Yeah.
Got traded to the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that was Larry Nance, that whole deal.
That was a trade for
Clarkson.
LeBron. That was a trade for LeBron.
Yeah.
And then he was with the Lakers that year, and then he went
to the Nuggets,
and then he went to Washington, and now who knows? I mean, I don't know if he'll be in the league.
He's just been trying to bounce back. I think he's a guy who's trying to get back to getting that
chance.
money. Yeah, like trying to get to that level, because he was supposed to get that max contract, but he's another one that just plummeted. Sorry to bring up the old wounds, Dalen.
It's all right. I liked him. I really did. I mean, he just, like you were saying, he was just fun to watch. I mean, I just remember watching him during that year, and it was like how he's 5'8", maybe 5'9" on a good day, and he's able to take it into the lane and score on these
so impressive.
Like it just was awesome. But I mean, at the end of the day, I know we have talked to you guys about it too. with the hip injury and who we were going for and Kyrie Irving at the time, it just made sense. Why are we gonna pay him, big money when Kyrie Irving's out there? We can chase him. He's injured, with his hip, IT's hip. It was just like, it was too much. I agree though. Boston did do him a little dirty. Danny Ainge did tell him a lot of things that, he didn't come through on. So it hurts a little bit looking back on it, but I mean, it is what it is. I wish IT the best. He did, make it a fun time while,
every
while
year there's rumors of him coming back to Boston. Every single year.
Yeah. Him and Danny Ainge, I don't think they're tight like that anymore to where he would come back. And especially with Kemba there now, it's just, there's no need. I mean, IT wouldn't even play.
I don't see him being a starter in the NBA anytime soon. I mean,
no.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he didn't even start for the Wizards really, and John Wall was out. Like, I don't see him starting.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's definitely why he's on T's list. But,
there we go.
Well, and speaking of lists,
it's that time.
Dalen, what time is it?
It is time for top 5.
Top 5.
This episode, we are going with Rye. All right, Rye, you ready for this?
Ready.
Give me your top 5 World Series.
World Series series.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start off with my number 1.
Ooh. Okay.
My number 1 World Series win is the 2020 World Series champions, the Los Angeles Dodgers, over the Tampa Bay Rays in 6 games. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Dodge Show, cue the music. All I do is win, no matter what.
Two different songs.
Sorry.
Two different songs.
Communicate that before that. I love LA. Sorry, should have gone with that too. My bad.
Wow, that's our anthem.
I know. I was just excited though because I
played after every Dodgers game.
I know. I just got excited.
Oh man,
yeah. Great number 1.
That was my number 1. Okay, now I'm going to be unbiased and I'm going to go with the. As a fan, as a Dodger fan, that was mine. But I'm going to put the Dodgers aside. Let's just say that other than the Dodgers.
Right.
That way I don't have to put them on the list.
All right.
So I don't want to have bias
fair
here.
enough.
All right. So we'll go to number 5 here. Number 5, I'm going 2011. I'm going to preface this too. This is I'm going to do all my lifetime.
Okay.
So just my lifetime, 1993 to present. Okay. I wanted to preface that beforehand because I tried to do a lot of reading up, and there are so many World Series that were so long ago that were oh, that seemed really cool, but I was I don't know how to judge all of this because I really don't know anything about it. So I'm going to roll with in my lifetime. And actually most of these are in my lifetime where I became a really big sports fan. So they're all in the 2000s. So I'm going to say in the 2000s here. Number 5, 2011, the Cardinals over the Rangers in 7 games. Albert Pujols doubling in the 9th. He had 3 home runs. That World Series only had been accomplished by 3 other players before him: Reggie Jackson, Babe Ruth, and Pablo Sandoval. Only 3 guys had done that. Cardinals won the game in the 11th inning in Game 6, and they were down 2 runs in the 9th inning. I mean, it was just erased that 2-run deficit going into extra innings, all of that. It was a fantastic game, a walk-off home run by David Freese in the 11th inning. Blowout Game 3, Albert Pujols. He hit those 3 home runs in that game, not in the series. In that game.
Yeah.
Unbelievable game. I mean, it was amazing. That series was just unbelievable in general, and I think it deserves a spot on the top 5. The 2011 World Series Cardinals over the Rangers. The Rangers were 1 pitch away from a World Series and lost it all. 1 pitch away, and that's happened a couple times. We're going to read about that here. We're going to hear about a few of those in a little bit. Next one, I hate to say this one, and it does not bring me any joy to say this, but I have to be unbiased, completely unbiased.
I know where this is going.
2015 Giants over the Royals in 7 games. Being completely unbiased, this was one of the probably, if not the greatest pitching performance in World Series history. Madison Bumgarner was named the 2014 World Series MVP, finishing the series with a 2-0 record and a .43 ERA in 3 pitching appearances. Came in to close the game out, in the 7th game. Bumgarner gave up 1 run in 21 World Series innings, pitched 52 and 2/3 total innings in that entire postseason, was just a beast. And for that reason, pretty much for his performance, just his performance in general, I had to put that on my list. It was an unbelievable performance by a player. He deserved the MVP that season, no question. He willed his team to win. To me, in the 2000s, only 2 times have a pitcher or pitchers really dictated a game, completely dictated a series. Now, they're all extremely valuable. We understand that, and we'll talk about this. I'm going to talk about this here in a minute. You know, it's extremely valuable. Pitching, obviously, I think is the most important position, but he willed his team that World Series, in my personal opinion, Madison Bumgarner, so they got to be on my list, number 4. Number 3, I'm going 2002 Angels over the Giants in 7 games. The Angels being a wild card that year, only 1 World Series championship, has had a lower chance of winning the world in World Series history. Only one World Series has a team had a lower chance of winning the series and winning than the Angels did. There was no one expected them to win. What they had to do late in Game 6, Spezio hitting that home run to right field. That team with Troy Gloss, with Tim Salmon, John Lackey, a rookie pitching Game 7. Just an unbelievable World Series. So fun to watch. I remember my family, I'm a diehard Dodgers fan. My family's Angels fans. And I remember watching that series, Barry Bonds, everyone, the Giants were completely favored. And to see the Angels come out, win Game 6, win that closeout game, and then win Game 7. Just an unbelievable performance by them. They're number 3 on my list. Number 2, I'm going with the Cubs over the Indians in 7 games. Over 100 years, 108 years drought for not winning the World Series. And the Indians, I think, after losing that, now hold the record for they're now the longest drought. I don't know exactly how many years it's been. But both of those teams wanting it so bad, and the Cubs finally getting over the hump. The year before, they weren't able to. Obviously, I was disappointed they beat our Dodgers, that year. Yep. But winning the World Series, just amazing to see that city and just their fan base and everything like that finally get a championship. They got to be number 2, and number 1. For me, the top World Series in my lifetime, the 2001 World Series, Diamondbacks over the Yankees in 7 games. I can replay all of these moments. I can replay Craig Counsell coming up and getting hit by a pitch. Mariano Rivera hit him, bases loaded. Luis Gonzalez coming up, that lefty hit a blooper right over short, right to center. And, Mariano Rivera coming in, and it pretty much at that time, if Mariano Rivera was coming in the game, it was over. The game was done. The series was over. And to see him come in, and they had a lead in the 9th inning, coming to the 9th inning, and seeing them lose that game, and the Diamondbacks doing something that was just unbelievable. And what I was referencing before, in my opinion, pitching was the most valuable thing in that series, no question. Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling each won 2 games in that World Series. Both of them won 2 games. You only need 4 games, so two pitchers literally won them the series. Extremely valuable. That was an amazing series to watch. I remember watching Game 7 with my family, and just seeing that. I used to love. I was a Dodgers fan, but as a young kid, I didn't really understand rivalries, and I really liked Craig Counsell because he had that really, if you remember, that really weird stance at the plate, and his bat would be like up here in the air, and he'd swing it back and forth. And as a kid, I used to play the MLB baseball game on my PlayStation 1, and I used to love playing with Craig Counsell because he would like swing that bat.
Kevin Youkilis too on the Red Sox.
Yeah, on the Red Sox,
like
he's
that
got
too.
that weird stance too. But Luis Gonzalez, all those guys, man, that was a fun series, and so to me, that's the number 1 World Series. But as a Dodger fan, I got to say the 2020 World Series victory by the Dodge Show.
I like your list. I would have switched 2 and 1, the Cubs winning the World Series. was
man,
was to me
that
to
it was
me the
it was
best one.
cool because of the drought, but
Yeah, that's I mean,
but that series, like
but them coming back from 3-1.
Yeah, bro. But that game 7, was unbelievable. Diamondbacks Yankees.
Yeah,
But
It's a pretty good
we
list.
can agree
Pretty
to
good
disagree.
list. Yeah.
list.
Cool. All right. Well, let's jump into this last segment, and
Let's go.
you already know what time it is, and it is heart over head. No facts, no stats, no information.
Nothing.
Speak from the heart.
Let's go.
Rye, you alluded to the Dodgers, Yankees. The Diamondbacks.
Yep.
Championship was in your top 5.
Yep.
Our heart over head kind of has to do with something with that. As far as pitching is the most important key to winning a championship. You had mentioned that the Diamondbacks used 2 pitchers to technically, in reality, win them that series.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you guys, or let you guys know, pitching is the most important key to winning a championship. Yes or no? Kind of what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this to me, it's pretty simple. Yes, it's definitely the most important aspect of the game of baseball to win a championship. Just as you would ask the question in any sport. In basketball, what's more important, offense or defense? Obviously both are important. You can't play the game without either of them. But to me, pitching is the most important piece to baseball. You rely so much on the pitchers. When you talk of the greatest players in baseball history, you go back and forth with who they are, and everyone loves the flashy, the home runs and the records and all of this. But when you really break it down and when you really look at the game of baseball, pitchers are so much more valuable than every other position. Think about the weight that is put on a pitcher's shoulder. You in a World Series as a pitcher, you cannot have a bad game. You can't. As a hitter, you can have a bad game and you're going to bounce back because you don't play game 1, you're playing game 2. But as a pitcher, especially if you're a starting pitcher, you're getting 2 starts in a World Series max. And you have to perform. The pressure that is put on these pitchers, because you have to perform in those 2 games. And yeah, those games in between, you get rest and you get a breather there. But those times you have no option but to perform. A batter can come up and he can come up and have a plate appearance and he can strike out and he's got another opportunity. But as a pitcher, if you got 2 or 3 guys on base and you give up a home run, the entire game could be over because you now have no option but to rely on your team to give you run support. You can't do anything about that. A pitcher can get a home run if you're playing, if the NL and we're not using designated hitters, but that's not going to happen. You rely on your team to do that. And so the weight on these pitchers is absolutely extreme. You can't have a bad inning. You can't have a bad game because you can jeopardize the entire World Series if you just we look at the Dodgers when we lost the World Series. When your best pitcher does not play to the best of his abilities, you will lose the World Series.
It's a really good point.
The Astros cheated. Yes, they did. And who knows what could have happened. We can speculate back and forth. But Clayton Kershaw did not perform when it mattered most. We could have won Game 6. 98 times Clayton Kershaw, when he has a 3-run lead going into the 5th or the 6th inning, if he has a 3-run lead, actually I think at any inning, if at any point his team has a 3-run lead, he was 96-2 if he has a 3-run lead. In the playoffs, in the World Series, in Game 6, when we were up 3-2, he choked. And he didn't give us what we needed. And because he did not play and because he did not perform to what he was capable, I believe we lost the World Series. We can say the Astros did cheat. We can reference all of that. But as a pitcher, you cannot have a bad game. And there is so much pressure put on you for that. You can really make or break a championship run.
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there.
Sorry, I got a little passionate there. I was sharing there.
Yeah, I think pitching is is important, but I think to me, hitting is the most important aspect of winning the World Series. I think run support is more important than the pitching. You made a lot of good points there about you've got your one game or your one shot. All of it can end there. But then again, you can see games like, even in this World Series with the Rays and the Dodgers, like you can, your pitching can be strong, your pitching can, be great, but then what's the pitcher slipping me, game 6
For Dodgers
for the Rays.
Tony Snell.
Snell balling, like he's killing it as a pitcher, but then obviously they're not creating that separation. They're not getting that run support. They're not getting that.
They were in the lead at that point when he got pulled out. That was a manager's flaw.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm saying is like they were in the lead. They were in the lead, but it was 2-1, I think, or the score was 2-1 or 3-1.
We hadn't scored.
Yeah. So what was the score?
I think it was 1-0.
1-0. So I mean, you have a pitcher who can
because we ended up winning 3-1.
Yeah, that's right. The score's 3-1. So you have a pitcher who's killing it, who's literally keeping this team back. But if you're not creating that run support and you're able to create that distance, that still gives that team that that puncher's chance or whatever. Like you keep the game close enough for them to have the shot to make that run, to capitalize on one error, or you said the coach's flaw, like just now you switch out the pitcher and then now it's game over, even though he has such a strong outing. So I think they're both important, but I think to me the run support, being able to create that gap and that distance, that separation, that allows your team to not have to take take more risks as far as on the offensive side, or on the defensive side. So like to me the run support, the hitting is the most important aspect of winning the World Series.
I mean, we say defense wins championships, and I think if we're going to say that, we in basketball, I think it goes the same way in baseball. And when you're on the defensive end, when you're fielding, the pitcher is the most valuable position at that time. No other position in baseball is more valuable than the pitcher. I mean, I think that's just facts. You rely on a pitcher because when you're batting, you have 9 guys, and you have an opportunity for all 9 of those guys to hopefully one of them or 2 of them or 3 of them will have a big night. With a pitcher, your starting pitcher, this is on you. I mean, we have some relief pitchers that we can bring in, but it is your job to at least get us 5-6 solid innings that you perform, that you come out and you give us some solid innings, because if not, this thing could get done real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you on that. Like, again, I think there's the importance of that, but again, like you said, the 9 guys. Like, on the flip side, if this pitcher is killing it, if this pitcher is like, yo, guys, he's putting us in a position to win this game, like everybody else has got to step up, has got to, obviously no pun intended, step up to the plate and start to give us run support, and start to do your job to create that distance, like to give yourself, because again, we've also seen shootouts, I guess, in baseball too, where you have a little bit more higher scoring games too, but
if you look at the average World Series game, they are very low scoring, typically.
Yeah.
Extremely low scoring. And I believe that's because the pitchers take it to the next level during those times, and because...
But I think, too, to that point, because they're so low scoring and the pitching ramps up the intensity, like, you, as the, for the run support, for the hitting, like, it has to be there. You can't just be mediocre at, like, hitting. I mean, obviously you can't be mediocre either way, but, like, I feel you can get away with it more being, not having a great performance pitching, but if you're not performing well as far as hitting, if your bats just aren't there and you're not getting that run support, like you said, like I feel like the Rays game, that can flip like that because you're just not being able to create that separation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see how. I mean, we can see so many times in World Series where there are so many there's neither team really giving run support, and it's a 1-0 victory. I mean, even the Dodgers game, I mean, it was a 3-1 victory. We didn't score till the 6th inning. I mean, we scored those 2 runs in the 6th, and then Mookie hit that home run in the 9th, and it was really, I mean, it was dead up until that point. I think we had 1 hit through 5 innings, and because the pitching was so strong, we were able to stay in that game because how valuable that is.
Yeah, but I see on the flip side, because the hitting wasn't really there, the bats weren't there for the Rays. Like, well, I felt like we had it. We were still in the game. Like, we had a shot. Like, we got it. We have a chance because they're not getting that run support too. I mean, it's always tough too.
It's kind of one of those things. You can kind of see either way. I mean, because you need both, and
I think it's tough
for both. But I don't see how we put a higher value on batting than pitching.
I think this conversation this debate here is a little bit tough because it kind of goes both. It goes both ways. Like, you could say, well, we were doing a poor job at batting, or he was doing a really good job at pitching.
We got to take this one to Instagram.
Yeah.
We got to take this one to Instagram.
Take it to the
Dave,
gram.
what do you think?
Sorry, T, but I'm going with Ryan on this one, in that pitching wins championships, and especially when it comes to the postseason. And here's why. Ryan did a very, very good job in explaining why he believes that, and just kind of piggybacking off what he said, but in a little bit of a different view. When it comes to the World Series and it comes to pitchers, you have obviously your starting pitchers. There's so much pressure. There's so much. The light is on them. It's your time to go. Give us your best game possible. Give us your best game all year long. Like, you have to come to play. And when it comes to pitching, one bad pitch could result in a home run. One curveball that doesn't break, gone over the fence, changes the game. Now, if you look at for instance, the Rays Dodgers game, the Dodgers, I don't know. I think Snell maybe gave up 2 hits when one hit when he got pulled.
Yeah.
1 hit through 5 innings and had 8 strikeouts.
Yeah. It was. I'm sorry. It was the second hit. That's why he got pulled. He had
Right.
1 hit up until that, and then the second hit he got pulled when Chris Taylor got that hit.
He, up until that point, the Dodgers were not hitting at all. They were struggling so hard, and they could not make any contact. He gave up that second hit and got pulled. As soon as he got pulled, the guy who replaced him gave up a run right away.
Immediately.
And that just goes to show you how, in that aspect right there, pitching is so important. If you would have left, I don't know how it would have played out, but I'm just assuming or seeing that the fact that Snell was just balling. If you would have left him in the game, I don't know if we would have even scored the rest of the game, or unless they're
until he got pulled. And at that point, they would have, when they went to their bullpen, if it would have been later on, they would have kept their because they were saving their aces for later.
Right, exactly.
They would have been able to use their aces later, and I think it would have been a different ballgame.
And especially in baseball too, like, you want your pitching roster, you want your bullpen to be completely stacked. Like, you just think about even the Dodgers pitching rotation. You had, all these guys who we could go to any except for Kenley Jansen. But all of our other pitchers were solid guys that could come out and just pitch lights out, get us out of the inning, come in and, throw a couple strikes, get 2 outs, and end the inning. That's it. We're done. But, like, pitching in that aspect, especially in the World Series, I put a higher value on that than batting because, like I said, one wrong pitch could result in a double, a single, a run batted in, a home run. And that, it's not rare in baseball to see 1-0 games. 2-0 games. And why is that? Because the pitching is so good. It only takes the Dodgers 1 home run and Kershaw to pitch 6 strong innings, our bullpen to come in, close it out. We win off 1 home run, 1-0. Yeah. So I think, especially in a World Series, I think your pitching is that much more valuable because batting, yes, I agree with you. Batting is important. Both sides are important, but like having an ace come in and just give you 6 strong innings and you not score at all, and then your bullpen can close out the rest of the game and maybe give up 1 or 2, but say you did have 3 runs. I think at that point you have to look at it like, yeah, we were okay batting. I mean, we had 1 home run and 1 RBI, but we pitched an exceptional game to where we shut them out, where they only scored 1 run. And now you look at, we won 3-1. So I think when it comes to when it comes to World Series, championship games, pitching is the most important. And that's kind of where I stand. Kind of.
Since we've referenced a few Dodger games, I would just like to publicly on YouTube thank Kevin Cash for pulling out Tony Snell in the 6th inning. We greatly appreciate it.
He was the MVP of that series, definitely.
You're the real MVP. And thank you for that opportunity. Because I don't even know the guy's name who came in, but he had a passed ball immediately, run scored, and it was just... And then an infield hit where Mookie just
but even back to the point of obviously pitching being important. Look at Kenley Jansen. Like, we go to him to close the game. Like, hey, bro, this is the only you only pitch 1 inning, and you're in Major League Baseball, and your one job is to get us 3 outs and close out the game. And like every time he was a liability. And it was
game 4, he was a liability, but we also have to give the errors there.
Yes, but I mean, Kenley Jansen hasn't been the same Kenley Jansen that we're used to. You know what I mean? But it's just that it's just that important that if your starting pitcher isn't going to pitch 9 innings, you need someone to close out the game. And if you're going to have someone like Kenley who's not the same anymore, and he's going to give up runs or he's going to make you lose the game. I mean, that's why it's
that's why he didn't play in Game 6.
Yeah, but that's my input. But I think maybe we should take this to.
I think we got to take
Instagram
it
to
the streets.
Sorry.
Instagram.
See what happens there, and see what the people say, because that's what it's all about. It's the people, and so thank you for tuning in.
We're here for the people.
We are. We're here for
it's
the people.
about you guys.
Yeah, Let your voice be heard.
That's right. And so if you have any questions you want us to to answer, you have any comments, or man, you're just like, I don't agree with what they said. That was stupid. That's okay. Let us know. Nah, I don't know about that. But seriously, we appreciate all you guys. Thank you for listening to another episode of Water Break. We'll catch you on the next one.